Creating area events. In previous videos, we covered creating point and path events. In this video, we'll create an area event. This is very similar to creating a path event. Area events are especially good for showing movements of masses of people, such as an army, or the spread of something, such as a fire. We will create a couple of events to show the start and early progress of the Great Boston Fire of November 1872. I'll use the toolbar to create an area event. So here we have the city of Boston, a modern map. And as with path events, I just need to click to outline the area. When I'm happy with it, click OK. Up comes the event accordion widget. So let's give it a title, Start of Fire. If I don't specify an icon, it will not put an icon there. It will not put the Google Maps red teardrop place mark. In this case, we have a fire icon. Let's use that. The start time of the fire was November 9th, 1872 at about 7:20 p.m. And this extent of the fire was reached by 11/9/1872 at about 8 p.m. Under Style and Color, the line color, width, and opacity are the same as we saw for path events, but they refer in this case to the line around the border of the area. So we'll just leave that black. Area fill color refers to the area inside here. So let's kind of make this a nice dark red. That's fine. We'll need to remember this color, B0220C, when we create the next event. And let's make the fill opacity kind of dark, 0.8. Now, under animation, we have no choice at this point. The reason is that an area event is animated because it moves toward or morphs into another area event. And that second area event is called the target area event of the first one. So in this case, we have no other area events, so there are no possible targets, so no animation. Not yet. We'll get to that later. So let's save that. And now let's create another area event to show the extent of the fire at about 10 p.m. And from Histories of Boston, just close that. We know that the fire extended to about here by 10 p.m. Okay, so let's call that extent of fire by 10 p.m. And we'll use the fire icon. Now I'm going to make this event just go from 10 p.m. to 10:05 p.m. Why so short? If it's the extent of the fire from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m., why not have the start time be 8 p.m. and the end time be 10 p.m.? Well, I'm going to have the animation do that work of having that first area grow. We'll see that in just a second. So, Style and Color, we'll leave the outline black as before, and now we can just type in the color B0220C that we had from the first event and change the opacity to 0.8. Okay. Now let's edit that first event, Start of Fire. Now when we go to Animation and choose the pull down, we have a new event, Extent of Fire by 10 p.m. Well, that's the target event. That's what we want the first event to morph into. So let's choose that. We can choose to have the path filled as the area moves to the target. If you were moving one area over to another, for example, an army on the move, you might want to show the past history of the army, the trail that the army left. That doesn't make sense in this case, so we'll just leave that unchecked. So let's save that. And now do a file refresh to get the time in sync. And now let's start to play the time. And as you can see, the original area of the event is starting to grow. Moreover, the shape of the area is starting to change as it morphs toward the final shape that the target event is going to have. Now, it's going to take a little while before it gets there. So what I'm actually going to do is stop this here, and I'm going to switch to a completed version of this scenario. So here's a completed version of that scenario, and I'm going to play it from the start to the end. There are a number of events along the way. Each one is the target for the next one, so you can see the area grow and morph. This fire eventually covered more than 60 acres of downtown Boston and was absolutely devastating. Now, the reason it's switching the sides here, this is just an artifact of the way the next event was drawn. But nonetheless, you get the idea, and here's the final extent of that fire. So that's creating and animating area events, and in the next video, we'll cover some tips and hints for successful event creation.